She thought she'd go unnoticed, staring at a stranger's pancakes. But he saw everything, and it changed their lives forever. Little black girl cautiously looking at a stack of pancakes in a diner, older sister gently pulling her away. Billionaire noticing them, eyes widening in shock and curiosity. He kneels down, offering pancakes with a gentle smile. Girls hesitating, then taking a bite. Emotional close-ups of their expressions. From one small act of kindness to a bond that rebuilt a family. This is a story of hope, love, and second chances. Welcome back to Hub Stories. I've truly missed you all. Thank you so much for staying with me. Your love and support mean everything. If you're enjoying this story, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Your support helps us bring even more emotional, powerful, and life-changing stories. And trust me, you definitely don't want to miss what's coming next. Now let's continue the story. The morning rush at Sunrise Diner could be heard from halfway down the street. The chatter of early workers grabbing breakfast, the clinking of coffee cups, the sizzle of fresh pancake batter hitting the hot griddle. Inside, everything felt warm, bright, and full of life. But outside, on the sidewalk, stood two little sisters who didn't belong to that world of comfort. Ava, 9 years old, thin as a twig, with hair pulled into small braids her mother did at night. And Mia, only 6, tiny, holding her sister's hand like it was the only stable thing in the universe. Their clothes were clean but faded. Their shoes were too tight, and their faces carried something no child should ever carry. Responsibility, the kind that forces you to grow up too fast. Ava took a deep breath as the warm smell of food blew out of the diner each time someone opened the door. Pancakes, bacon, maple syrup. It wrapped around them like a dream they weren't allowed to touch. She squeezed Mia's hand. "Don't look, just walk," Ava whispered, her voice firm but soft. It wasn't the first time she had said those words. It was a rule their mother taught them. No matter how hungry you get, never stare at other people's food. It makes you look desperate. It makes people uncomfortable. Ava lived by that rule. She understood it. She respected it. But Mia was still little, still hopeful, still full of curiosity. And today, she was also starving. They had eaten only half a piece of bread the night before. Ava pretending she was full so Mia could have more. Now Mia's steps slowed, her eyes widened. Her tiny body leaned toward the glass window of the diner. Because right there, just a few feet away, sat a plate of beautiful, golden pancakes, rising like fluffy clouds stacked high, dripping with melted butter and fresh strawberries. Her stomach growled loudly. "Mia," Ava whispered sharply, tugging her arm. "Don't look. We can't stare, come on." But Mia didn't move. For a moment she forgot the cold morning, forgot the empty fridge, forgot the tiny cracked-walled apartment waiting for them. All she saw, all she felt, was the smell of something she hadn't tasted in months. A warmth she didn't know she missed until now. Ava looked around nervously. She knew how people reacted when kids like them hung around places they couldn't afford. They got suspicious. They got irritated. They told them to move along. The last thing Ava wanted was trouble. They were supposed to be heading to the public library. Their safe place. The place with free heat and books that let them escape. But Mia didn't move. So Ava stepped in front of her, blocking her view, holding her by both shoulders now. "Mia, please," she whispered, voice cracking. "We don't have money. Mom will be upset if someone tells her we were standing here making people uncomfortable." Mia's small lips trembled. "I'm sorry. I'm so hungry, Ava." Ava felt her heart break. But she did what she always did. She stayed strong for her sister. "I know," she said, brushing Mia's hair gently. "We'll eat later. Mom will bring something tonight." She promised. Even though Ava knew their mom was working 2 exhausting jobs. Even though she knew dinner wasn't guaranteed. She still said the words. Because hope was the only thing she could give her sister. A couple walked out of the diner laughing, brushing past the girls without noticing them. The door swung open again, releasing another wave of warm air and food aromas. And in that moment, someone inside noticed. He had been sitting alone at a corner booth, reading reports on his tablet between bites of pancakes. His name was Ethan Carter, a billionaire businessman whose face appeared in magazines, but whose past remained hidden from the world. At first he thought he imagined it. 2 little girls standing outside, one staring with heartbreaking longing, But when he looked again, he saw it clearly. Saw Mia's hungry eyes, saw Ava's forced maturity, saw himself, years ago, standing outside a bakery window, wishing he could taste even one roll. He froze. A memory he had locked away long ago suddenly hit him. His mother telling him, "Don't stare. Ethan, we can't afford to look hungry." His throat tightened. Without even realizing he had stood up, he pushed his chair back and stepped toward the door. Meanwhile, outside, Ava finally managed to pull Mia a step away from the window. "Come on, please," she whispered. "We need to go." But before she could finish, the diner door opened. A pair of expensive black shoes stepped out. Then the legs of a tailored suit. Then a face full of calm warmth, a man kneeling down to their level. And then a voice, gentle, steady, and full of understanding. "Hey, are you two okay?" Ava's whole body went stiff. She pulled Mia behind her instantly, protective like a mother. "We're not bothering anyone," Ava said quickly. "We're leaving." But Ethan shook his head softly, his expression kind. "You're not bothering me at all," he said. And for the first time that morning, Ava felt a strange, unfamiliar thing brush her heart. Possibility. Ava's heart pounded so loudly she could barely hear the man's gentle voice. She pulled Mia closer, shielding her with both arms like she had done 100 times before. Grown-ups could be unpredictable. Kind one moment, annoyed the next. And people with money, people who looked like him, they lived in a different world. A world where mistakes cost children like Ava and Mia more than anyone else. So she lowered her eyes and spoke carefully, the way her mother taught her. "We're not bothering anyone, sir. We're leaving." But the man didn't step aside. He didn't scold them. He didn't look irritated. Instead, he knelt down to be eye level with them, making himself small, gentle, safe. His voice matched his posture, soft, controlled. "You're not bothering me," he said again. "My name is Ethan. What's yours?" Ava didn't respond. Not because she was rude, but because life had taught her to be cautious. Mia, however, peeked from behind her sister. "I'm Mia," she whispered. Ava shot her a look, but Ethan only smiled wider. "That's a beautiful name," he said. "And you must be her big sister?" Ava hesitated, then nodded. "Mm-hmm. Does your big sister take good care of you?" he asked Mia. "The best," Mia said instantly. Ava's cheeks flushed in embarrassment. She wasn't used to praise, especially not in front of someone like him. Ethan took a slow breath. His eyes shifted to the diner window, to the empty plate where his pancake stack had once been. "Tell me something," he said softly, looking at Mia. "Do you like pancakes?" Mia froze. Her lips parted. Her eyes widened. She looked up at Ava for permission to answer. Ava swallowed hard. "We're okay, sir," she said quickly. "We don't need anything. We have to go." Her stomach growled loudly right after she said it. Her face burned with shame. Ethan pretended not to hear it. He stood up slowly, dusting off his hands. "Look," he said gently, "I don't want anything from you. I just noticed you two looking hungry, and I'd feel awful walking away knowing I could help." Ava felt the sting of tears behind her eyes but refused to let them fall. People had offered help before. Help that came with conditions. Help that vanished the moment they needed it most. Ethan took a step back, giving them space, not crowding them. "Here's my idea," he said. "No pressure. No expectations. Why don't you two join me for breakfast? My treat, no strings attached." Mia gasped. She tugged Ava's sleeve. "Please, Ava. Just this once? I'm so hungry." Ava looked at her sister, then at Ethan, then back at Mia. In that moment, she felt like a 9-year-old trapped in a grown woman's body, forced to make decisions bigger than she understood. "What if we cause trouble?" Ava whispered. "You won't," Ethan said immediately. "You'll be my guests." The word guests felt foreign to her. Ava had never been anyone's guest before. She took a shaky breath. "Okay," she said finally. "But only if we sit in the corner." Ethan's smile warmed. "You can sit wherever you want." He held the door open for them, not in a fancy, dramatic way, but with the simplicity of someone who wanted them to feel safe. Inside the diner, the warm air wrapped around them like a hug. Mia smiled so big her cheeks lifted her eyes. Ethan guided them to a booth near the window, the same one he had been sitting at. A waiter approached, eyebrows raised slightly when he saw the girls. Ethan didn't give him a chance to speak. 3 pancake plates, he said confidently. Extra syrup, fresh strawberries, and warm milk for the kids. The waiter nodded and left. When the food arrived, the plates looked like something out of a commercial. Fluffy pancakes stacked high, butter melting slowly, syrup glistening like liquid gold. Mia stared in awe. Her hands shook as she picked up her fork. Ava didn't touch her food at first. She watched Mia eat, smiling a little despite her worry. Ethan noticed. "You should eat too," he said gently. Ava pretended to be uninterested. "I'm not really hungry." Her stomach betrayed her again with a loud growl. She froze. Ethan didn't laugh. He didn't tease. He simply turned his plate toward her. "Here," he said. "Share mine until yours cools down." Ava's eyes softened. Slowly, carefully, she took a bite. It felt like heaven. Mia giggled as syrup smeared across her face. Ethan watched them with quiet gratitude, letting them enjoy the moment without questions or pity. He didn't force conversation. He didn't ask where their father was. He didn't demand explanations. He let the girls eat in peace. And for the first time in a long time, Ava felt what it was like to be a child again. To sit in a warm room, to eat until her stomach didn't hurt, to feel safe, even if just for a moment. Ethan didn't know it yet, but this simple act of kindness would change all of their lives, forever. For a while, the only sounds at the booth were forks scraping plates and the soft hum of the diner's morning crowd. Mia's tiny feet swung under the table as she devoured her pancakes with pure delight. Ava, after resisting at first, finally allowed herself to eat, small, careful bites, as if she feared someone might take the food away at any second. Ethan watched them quietly, not in pity, not in judgment, just understanding. He remembered exactly what it felt, like to eat slowly because you didn't know when the next meal would come. After several minutes, Mia finally looked up, syrup smeared across her mouth. "Mr. Ethan?" she said, voice small but curious. "Do you eat pancakes every day?" He chuckled. "I wish, but today felt like a pancake day." Mia nodded seriously as though she completely understood. Ava wiped her sister's face with a napkin and whispered, "Slow down, Mimi, you'll get a stomachache." Then she froze. Her eyes flicked toward Ethan. She bit the inside of her cheek. For the first time since they sat down, she seemed uncomfortable again. Ethan tilted his head gently. "You don't have to be nervous," he said. "You're safe here." Ava nodded but didn't speak. It wasn't that she didn't trust him. She just wasn't used to adults wanting to hear her voice. Finally, after watching Mia enjoy herself a little more, Ava placed her fork down and took a slow breath. She stared at her hands for a long moment before she spoke. "Our mom is trying." The words came out barely audible. Ethan didn't interrupt. He didn't push her. He simply waited. Ava glanced up at him and continued, voice trembling slightly. "She works 2 jobs, one at night, one in the morning. Sometimes she gets home after we're already dressed for school," Mia added through a mouthful of pancakes. "She's always tired." Ava shot her a look. "Mia, don't talk with your mouth full." Mia swallowed, giggled, then leaned closer. "Sometimes she cries in the bathroom, but she thinks we don't hear." Ava's eyes widened.
"Mia!"
The little girl lowered her head, suddenly unsure if she'd said something wrong. Ethan leaned forward, his voice soft. "It's okay, Mia, thank you for sharing." Then he looked at Ava. "You can tell me the truth. I'm not here to judge your family." Ava swallowed hard. Her fingers fidgeted with the napkin in her hands. "We don't always have dinner," she said quietly. "And when we do, Mom doesn't eat much. She says she's not hungry, but I know she's lying." A tear slipped down her cheek before she could stop it. She wiped it away quickly, embarrassed. "I'm supposed to help," she whispered. "But I don't know how." The weight of her words hung in the air. She was 9 years old. 9, and she carried responsibilities heavier than most adults. Ethan felt something deep inside him crack open. He had lived this life before, sleeping on a mattress with broken springs, hearing his mother cry behind thin walls, pretending he wasn't hungry so his little sister could have more. He leaned closer. "You're already helping, Ava," he said softly. "You take care of your sister. You help your mom more than you know." Ava shook her head. "We tried to go to the library today because it's warm there. And because books distract Mia from being hungry." Her voice quivered. But she felt dizzy on the way. She said her head hurt, so I didn't know where to go. We just walked around. Mia looked up and whispered, Ava held my hand the whole time. Ethan closed his eyes briefly, pulling in a slow breath. No child should have to choose between the library and hunger. No child should be dizzy from not eating. No child should carry this responsibility. When he opened his eyes, they were softer, warmer. "And your dad?" he asked gently. Ava's jaw tightened. "He left when I was 5. Mia nodded. "He took the car and the TV. And Mom," Ava added, "never saw him again." Silence settled between them. But it wasn't an awkward silence. It was the kind that wrapped the truth in softness. A moment later, Ethan leaned in. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for trusting me enough to tell me." Ava blinked, surprised. "No one ever listens," she whispered. "Well," Ethan said, smiling warmly, "I'm listening." Ava looked at him longer this time. Really looked. She didn't see a billionaire. She didn't see a man in a fancy suit. She saw someone who understood their pain, not because he read about it, but because he had lived it. And for the first time in a long, long while, Ava didn't feel alone. She didn't know it yet. But the moment she spoke, her truth was the moment her life began to change. Forever. The walk to the girls' apartment was quiet. Not an awkward quiet, but a heavy, thoughtful one. Ava stayed in front, clutching Mia's hand like a lifeline. She kept glancing back at Ethan every few steps, as if making sure he wasn't going to disappear or suddenly change his mind. Mia, on the other hand, skipped beside her sister, humming softly, full from pancakes and happiness, a feeling she rarely experienced. Ethan watched them, his pace slow and gentle. He didn't talk. He didn't rush. He just followed, letting the girls lead their own story. As they turned down a narrow street, the scenery shifted. The bright storefronts faded away, replaced by old brick buildings, peeling paint, flickering hallway lights, and windows sealed with tape to keep out the cold. Ethan felt a familiar ache in his chest. He had lived in places like this, places where hope felt borrowed, and every month was a gamble between electricity or groceries. Ava stopped, in front of a small apartment, building with cracked steps and a rusted railing. "This is us," she said softly. Ethan nodded, his expression unreadable. As they climbed the stairs, Mia whispered loudly, "Mom's probably home from her morning job. She'll be happy we ate." Ava's grip tightened. "We don't tell her yet," she whispered sharply. "She might get scared." Ethan heard it. The fear in Ava's voice. The protective edge that no child should ever have to carry. He wanted to tell her she didn't need to worry, but he knew from experience that worrying was her survival. Ava unlocked the door slowly. Inside, the apartment was small, one room functioning as a living room, half kitchen, and sometimes a bedroom when the girls dragged their blankets to the floor. The air smelled faintly of laundry detergent and burnt toast. A single window let in a pale beam of morning light. At the tiny table sat Tiana, the girl's mother. She was sewing a rip in her uniform pants. Her shoulders tired, her back curved with exhaustion. Her head lifted the moment she heard footsteps. "Ava, Mia," she called, her voice soft but worried. Then she saw Ethan standing behind them. Her face changed instantly, from tired to confused to alarmed. She stood up so fast her chair scraped across the floor. "Mia, go to the room," she said quickly. "Ava, behind me." Ava stepped forward. "No, Mom, it's okay." Tiana raised her hand gently but firmly. "I don't know who you are," she said to Ethan, voice trembling slightly. "But my daughters don't talk to strangers." Ethan raised both hands in calm surrender. "I understand. My name is Ethan Carter. I met your daughters outside the diner this morning." Tiana's eyes darted between him and the girls. "What happened? Did they bother you? Were they standing too close to the restaurant?" "I told them not to." "No," Ethan interrupted softly. "They did nothing wrong. I invited them to breakfast." Tiana blinked. Her breathing quickened. "You invited them?" She looked at Ava. "Did you ask someone for food?" "No, Mom," Ava said quickly, her voice cracking. He offered. "We didn't ask for anything." Mia peeked out from behind her sister. "He gave us pancakes, Mama." Tiana's eyes filled with tears she tried desperately to hide. She pressed a hand against her forehead. "Oh God, I'm so sorry," she whispered, shaking slightly. "I don't want my children to look like we're begging. I'm doing my best, please believe me, I'm trying." Her words came out fast, panicked. Ethan stepped forward just a little, but still kept respectful distance. "Tiana," he said gently, "you don't have to apologize. Your girls are polite. They didn't beg. They didn't look for trouble. They were just hungry. Tiana covered her mouth as tears spilled free. You don't understand. I work so much. But it's still not enough. And when people see us like this, when they see my girls hungry, they think, I'm failing. Ava rushed to her mother's side. You're not failing, she whispered, hugging her waist. You're the best mom. Mia joined the hug, wrapping her tiny arms around her mother's legs. Ethan watched, swallowing hard. This was a mother who loved her children fiercely. A mother drowning under life's weight but still fighting. He stepped a bit closer. Tiana, he said softly, I'm not here to judge you, and I'm not here to cause you fear. Tiana wiped her tears, still shaky. Why did you help them? She asked quietly. No one helps without wanting something back. Ethan paused. Then he spoke honestly. Because I grew up exactly like this, he said. And 2 little girls staring at pancakes this morning reminded me of something. I never wanted to forget what hunger feels like. Tiana looked at him for a long, silent moment. Her guard didn't drop completely, but something in her eyes softened. Something fragile, something hopeful. Finally, she whispered, thank you. Just 2 words, but heavy with meaning. And for the first time in a long time, her voice didn't sound alone. The billionaire, Ethan Cole, lifted the 2 plates gently, balancing them in his hands as he walked toward the girls' table. Every step he took felt heavier, not because of the food, but because of the storm of emotions in his chest. When he reached them, he placed one plate in front of Ava and the other in front of Maya. Warm pancakes, fresh berries, maple syrup still steaming. Ava's eyes widened, shocked. Maya froze, her small fingers curled into fists as if trying to hold back her instinct to reach for the food. She looked from the plate to Ethan, then to Ava, silently asking what to do. Ava's voice trembled. Maya, it's okay, he bought it for you. But Maya didn't touch the food. Instead, she whispered something so soft Ethan almost missed it. Is it free? That single question shattered him. Ethan slowly knelt beside them so he was eye level with Maya. Yes, he said softly. Completely free. Just for you. Maya bit her lip, tears suddenly flooding her eyes. Ava panicked and placed her hand on her sister's shoulder. No, Maya, don't cry. Please don't cry. But Maya's tears kept coming. Then with the softest voice she said, Ava didn't eat either. She gave her biscuit to me. She said she wasn't hungry, but I know she was. Ava froze. Her secret exposed. Maya continued, her voice cracking. She always says she's not hungry, but she lies so I can eat. Ava looked down, ashamed and powerless. Ethan felt something inside him twist, a deep ache he hadn't felt in years. Is that true? He asked gently. Ava swallowed hard. We only had half a bag of bread left. Mom had to leave early to work. Maya gets hungry faster than me. So I just saved it for her. She tried to smile, but her face crumbled instead. I didn't want her to feel scared. Silence fell over the table. Thick, emotional, painful. Maya suddenly wrapped her little arms around Ava's waist and cried into her shirt. I'm sorry, Ava. I didn't know. I'm sorry. Ava pulled her sister close, rocking her gently. It's okay, Maya, I'm your big sister. I'm supposed to take care of you. Their hug, the shaking shoulders, the quiet sobs. It was a moment Ethan knew he would never forget. He saw something more than struggle. He saw love. Raw, pure, sacrificial. No billionaire in the world could buy that. Ethan stood back up slowly, but inside a promise was forming. One that would change everything for these girls. The next weeks didn't just change a few things. They changed everything. For the first time in a very long time, Tiana, Ava and Maya's mother, woke up with something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Every morning she left home a little earlier than needed, arriving at Ethan Cole's headquarters with determination burning in her chest. She worked as an office assistant, filing papers, managing schedules, helping with client calls, and she gave the job everything she had. And people noticed. Within days, her supervisors praised her efficiency. Within weeks, her coworkers respected her. Within a month, she became the heartbeat of the admin floor. Tiana wasn't just surviving anymore. She was rising. Meanwhile, Ethan made sure the girls felt the changes too. Every Friday afternoon, A delivery driver would knock on the apartment door with 2 large boxes, food packages filled with fresh vegetables, fruit, cereal, milk, chicken, snacks, and even pancake mix. Ava and Maya would rush to the door each time, giggling and shouting, "The food boxes are here." One afternoon, Maya tore open the lid, gasping in delight. "Ava, look!" Strawberries. Ava held a hand to her mouth, smiling as if Christmas had arrived early. The tiny apartment, once silent and cold, felt warmer now. Louder, alive. Ethan didn't stop there. He paid for both girls to join after-school programs. Ava chose reading club, something she had always been too shy to join because she didn't have proper books or supplies. But now, she walked in each week with her head a little higher. Her teacher even pulled Tiana aside one day. "Your daughter, she's special. She understands stories faster than most kids her age." Tiana blinked back tears. For so long, Ava had been the quiet girl, the hungry girl, the one who never asked for anything. Now, she was the girl teachers talked about with pride. Maya's dream had always been louder, brighter, and it finally came true. She joined the community dance class. The first time Ethan visited to watch her practice, she ran across the gym floor, arms open wide, squealing, "Mr. Ethan." "You came." She twirled clumsily, nearly falling, but her grin stretched ear to ear. Her tiny shoes slapped the wooden floor as she moved across it, free, joyful, glowing. That day, the dance instructor leaned toward Ethan and whispered, "She's talented. Naturally talented. She just needs support." Ethan felt something warm in his chest, not pity, not charity, but pride. He hadn't even known the girls for long, yet watching them grow felt like watching flowers bloom after a long winter. Back at home, everything changed too. The apartment, once dim and silent, slowly transformed. New curtains, a warmer lamp, a small rug. Ethan gifted the family with soft colors and patterns, books for Ava, dance ribbons for Maya. Laughter filled the space at night. Music played in the mornings, and for the first time in years, they ate meals together without fear of running out. One evening, as Tiana cooked spaghetti, real spaghetti, with sauce and garlic bread, Ava sat at the table reading aloud from her new book. Maya danced across the living room, spinning like a tiny tornado of happiness. Tiana paused while chopping vegetables. She watched her daughters. Her heart swelled. This was what she had prayed for. A chance, a fresh start. And Ethan? He visited often, not as a billionaire, not as a man who saved them, but as a friend. He'd sit on the couch, letting Maya show him her clumsy dance steps while Ava talked excitedly about a new story she read. Some nights he stayed for dinner, laughing as Maya tried to sneak extra garlic bread onto his plate. "Mr. Ethan needs to eat too," she'd say, guarding his food like a tiny warrior. Sometimes he helped Ava with reading homework. Other times he fixed things in the apartment. Loose cabinet doors, flickering lights, a wobbly chair. He didn't act like a hero. He acted like someone who cared. And that care slowly stitched the broken pieces of the family's life back together. One night after Maya and Ava went to bed, Tiana stood by the door as Ethan prepared to leave. "Why are you doing all this?" she asked softly. Ethan paused. For a moment he didn't answer. Then he looked toward the girls' bedroom, where faint giggles still floated in the air. "Because someone helped me once," he said quietly, "when I was young and lost. A stranger showed me kindness, and it changed everything. I promised myself one day I'd pass it forward." Tiana's eyes softened. Ethan smiled gently. "You and your girls, you didn't need saving. You just needed someone to believe in you." And with that, he stepped out into the hallway, leaving the door of opportunity wide open behind him. Birthdays had always been quiet in their little apartment. Some years they didn't celebrate at all. No cake, no candles, sometimes not even a song. Tiana always felt guilty, apologizing with soft promises. "Next year, baby. Next year will be better." But this year, this birthday was different. Their home was filled with warm light, the smell of chocolate cake, and the excited footsteps of Maya dancing across the floor. Ava hung handmade decorations on the wall, colorful paper chains, scribbled stars, and a giant sign that read, "Happy birthday, Maya." For the first time in her life, Maya didn't wake up wondering what she wouldn't get. She woke up knowing someone cared. That evening, a knock sounded on the door. "He's here! He's here!" Maya shrieked, racing across the room. Tiana laughed softly. Slow down, sweetheart. Don't run. But it was too late. Maya flung open the door before Tiana even reached it. Ethan Cole stood there, dressed casually in jeans and a soft sweater, nothing about him resembling the billionaire everyone saw on magazine covers. In his hands he held a small white box wrapped with a ribbon. Happy birthday, Maya, he smiled. Maya grabbed his sleeve and pulled him inside as if he were part of the family returning from a long trip. Ethan laughed warmly, letting the little girl drag him to the couch. Tiana closed the door, her eyes soft with gratitude. Ava shyly peeked from behind the kitchen counter, wiping frosting from her cheek. The apartment felt full, alive, whole, something it hadn't felt in years. Ethan sat down, placing the small gift box on his knee. Maya climbed onto the couch beside him, bouncing with excitement. Can I open it, can I? Can I please? Ethan nodded, smiling. Go ahead. Her little fingers tore through the ribbon, pulling the lid off the box. Inside, resting on a velvet cushion, was a delicate silver necklace with a tiny charm. A charm shaped like a pancake. Maya gasped. A pancake? She giggled, holding it toward the light. Why a pancake? Ethan leaned forward, his voice gentle. Because pancakes brought us together. And because when I saw you staring at mine that day, it changed my life more than you know. Maya giggled again, placing the necklace against her chest. I love it, she whispered. It's shiny. Ava, look, it's shiny. Ava smiled back, warmth spreading across her face. But Ethan wasn't finished. He stood up slowly, turning toward Ava. And for you, he said softly, I have something special. Ava froze. No, Mr. Ethan. Today's Maya's day, she said quickly. You don't have to. He gently placed a second box in her hands. Not fancy, not flashy. Just simple and white. Ava looked up at him, unsure, nervous. Open it, Ethan encouraged softly. She pulled off the lid. Inside was a book. But not just any book. A thick, beautifully bound book with soft, cream-colored pages. The title read, The Girl Who Changed Everything. Ava blinked. What is this? Ethan sat beside her, his voice filled with a warmth she hadn't felt from an adult in a very long time. A story, he said. A story inspired by you. Ava's breath caught. Slowly, almost afraid, she opened the first page. Her eyes widened. There, written in elegant handwriting, was a dedication. To Ava, the bravest sister I've ever met. Ava's lip trembled. Her hand flew to her mouth. Tears gathered instantly. Big, heavy tears she tried so hard to blink away. Tiana watched from across the room, her heart breaking and healing at the same time. Ava whispered, No one has ever written anything for me before. Ethan gently placed a hand on her shoulder. You deserve to be seen, he said. What you did for your sister that day. The sacrifices you made. It showed me what real courage looks like. Ava let out a shaky breath. I didn't want her to be hungry. And that, Ethan said softly, is exactly why your story matters. Ava hugged the book to her chest like it was the most precious thing she had ever held. And in many ways it was. Not because it was expensive. Not because it was rare. But because for the first time in her life, she felt valued. She felt important. She felt seen. Maya ran over and wrapped her arms around Ava. Don't cry, she whispered. It's your present. You're supposed to smile. Ava laughed through her tears. I am smiling, Maya, I'm smiling from my heart. As the two sisters hugged, Ethan watched, feeling a quiet warmth spread through him. A small birthday, a simple necklace, a handwritten dedication, and yet somehow, this moment felt bigger than all the boardrooms, contracts, and billion-dollar deals he'd ever experienced. This little apartment, this little family was changing him too. And he wasn't done helping them. Not even close. Months passed like pages turning in the most beautiful story. Winter melted into spring. And the cold days that once froze the little apartment with worry were replaced by mornings, filled with sunlight, laughter, and new beginnings. The girls were doing better in school than ever. Tiana was earning promotions at work, and Ethan, well, even he felt lighter these days, as if the weight he had silently carried for years had finally started lifting. And it all began with a moment in a diner. A moment with pancakes. A moment that rewrote all their lives. One crisp evening, the sisters were helping Ethan decorate his office for a charity event he was hosting. Colorful string lights covered the walls. Balloons bobbed by the windows, and Maya was in charge of sticking star-shaped decals on anything she could reach, including Ethan's desk lamp and, at one point, his shoe. "Hey," he laughed, lifting his foot. "Why is there a star on me?" Maya shrugged proudly. "Because you're part of the decorations now." Ava giggled, hanging a garland neatly above a bookshelf. Tiana was in the corner arranging donation baskets, her smile soft and grateful as she watched her daughters move around the room with ease, no longer shy, no longer scared, no longer carrying hunger or fear on their shoulders. This was what safety looked like. This was what healing looked like. And in the middle of it all stood Ethan, quietly marveling at how naturally they fit into his world. As the evening went on, Ava stepped back from the bookshelf, brushing glitter off her shirt. She stared at Ethan thoughtfully, as if a question had been growing inside her for months. Finally, she asked in her gentle voice, "Mr. Ethan, why did you help us that day? You didn't know us." The room grew quiet. Even Maya paused mid-dance. Ethan stopped tying a ribbon, the memory hitting him with a soft ache. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he leaned against his desk, looking at both sisters with sincerity that made the air feel warmer. "Because sometimes the universe whispers," he said softly, "and sometimes we actually listen." Ava frowned slightly, curious. What did it whisper? Ethan smiled, one of those rare, vulnerable smiles filled with truth. "It told me to turn around," he said, "to stop rushing, to look, and when I did, I saw two little girls who deserved the world but were carrying burdens far bigger than they should." Ava lowered her gaze, touched. Maya, however, bounced excitedly and added loudly, "But also because of pancakes." Everyone burst out laughing. Even Tiana wiped a tear from her eye as she joked, "I'm going to have to thank whoever made those pancakes that morning." The laughter filled the room like music, warm, healing, shared. But then Ethan's expression softened again, deeper this time. He walked over to the girls and knelt beside them. "You think I saved you," he said quietly. "But the truth is," he hesitated, a vulnerability crossing his face that the girls rarely saw, "you saved me too." Ava's eyes widened. "Saved you? How?" Ethan took a breath. "For a long time," he said, "I lived in a world of meetings, money, and people who only cared about what I could give them, not who I was. I forgot what kindness looked like. I forgot what real connection felt like." He looked at Maya, who was hugging a teddy bear she always carried. Then he looked at Ava, whose eyes were gentle but wise beyond her years. "And then I saw you too," he continued softly. "A big sister willing to go hungry. A little sister trying so hard to be brave. A mother doing everything she could with nothing." His voice cracked, not with sadness but with gratitude. "You reminded me what humanity looks like. What love looks like." Ava slowly reached out and took his hand. She squeezed it. "You're family now," she whispered. Maya wrapped her small arms around him from the side. "And you can't escape us," she declared proudly. More laughter, more warmth, more love. Tiana crossed the room and joined them, placing a gentle hand on Ethan's shoulder. "I don't know what we did to deserve this," she whispered. "But thank you for everything." Ethan shook his head. "You don't owe me anything," he said. "You've given me more than I ever gave you." And standing there under the glow of the string lights, surrounded by the soft chatter of volunteers, getting ready for the charity event, a billionaire, a mother, and two little girls formed something stronger than wealth. Stronger than luck, stronger than circumstance. They formed a family, not by blood, but by kindness, by timing, by choosing each other. And in that warm room filled with lights and laughter, they proved one simple truth. Kindness isn't just something you give. It's something that can rewrite anyone's story forever.